Hi, in this video I'm talking about my first 72-hour water fast. So this is part 3 of a 4-part series. Part 1 was your introduction and the preparation side of it. Part 2 was the day-to-day experience of it. And then part 3 today is spiritual side of it. And the next video, part 4, will be my reflections and actions going forward. So let's dive into the spiritual experience of my 72-hour water fast. Hi, welcome back to A Spiritual Life. My name's Carrie. I'm a mindfulness teacher, a home-ed mum of 2 on a non-religious spiritual path. I'm passionate about helping parents learn a practical approach to spirituality to help with family connections and move on to live a more conscious and meaningful life. This channel is all about commitment for those on a non-religious spiritual path. With commitment, we have more connection, and with more connection, we have more community. That's what we're all about here. So let's dive into this video then, all about my spiritual experience of having this 72-hour water fast for my very first time. Okay, firstly, it made me want to get off my phone. I know I talk about that a lot. That's my issue about my addiction to the phone, when it takes me away from the present moment. So the water fast helped me get off it. Now, there's 2 reasons for that. Firstly, in the last video, I talked about the mental and physical experiences over the 3 days, and I talked a lot about the lack of concentration I had throughout, especially like day 1 and day 2. So because my concentration was gone, when I even tried to go on it, I was like, I can't, I just can't, I couldn't be on it because my concentration was so low. So, but by day 3, as I mentioned in that last video, day 3, I felt like a new woman. And I actually chose not to go on it. So to me, that was a spiritual experience because I chose not to go on my phone. And the reason being is because I wanted to be more present. So now I had the concentration, but I also had clarity, and I also wanted to tailor where I put my focus. And to me, that is brilliant. That's like a game changer. I felt empowered and in control, which not everyone probably does when they're doing this. And I knew I could do it, you know, and I think I've mentioned this in here. In the other video, I did briefly mention my backstory, that I did have some issues with food growing up, so I was worried and a bit apprehensive going into this as to how I might be and if it would trigger anything. And luckily it didn't. And I think that's... I don't want to repeat myself. I don't know if I'm going to say this coming up in these notes, but basically I felt more in control because I had done it in the past and I knew I could do it, so it was like just another thing. But there was that little bit of apprehension, like what if it does trigger? Now, the reason why I don't think it did trigger is because this felt so safe doing it this way. I read about it, I did it within a group, I was monitoring it, and I knew what to do if it went too low. So I think for those reasons it didn't feel anything like it did when I did it as a kid. So yeah, I think that's why it worked well for me. And I'm going to come on to something a little bit later. I think it's in oh no, it is in this bit. I'll mention it a little bit later as well, because I've got some people off the groups, obviously anonymous, but I've got some people on the groups comments as well, that talk about that they had issues as a child as well. So I could relate to that, and she had a good experience as well. But like I said, disclaimer, if you have had issues in the past with eating disorders, please do not go into this lightly. Use your discernment, research, speak to a health professional if you need to, or just if you're unsure, just don't do it. Just stick to your intermittent fasting. So yeah, I think that's why I felt empowered and in control, because I knew I could do it, and I know what hunger feels like. It's not like it's alien to me. No issues of past, because it felt purposeful and safe. So in the first video, I talk about the benefits of fasting, and I covered this sheet here. So it talks about, the fat burning, the autophagy, all the benefits of it. So because of that, I knew that I was getting benefit from it at each level. And, Mindy explains it so well. So you kind of know what to expect and how to deal with it. If it's hunger, it's more this. If it's a physical thing, it's more this. And it's you just really prepared for it. So I felt really in control. So I felt purposeful and safe. And I kept coming back to the benefits and the power of my body. And that's really something, from a spiritual perspective, our body is the vessel that's holding it, isn't it? Holding our soul. I mean, some people say your soul's out of your body, but you can see it as your soul's in this vessel. And we've got to look after our body, and our body is so powerful. And when you read into this and you're learning all this, and when times were challenging, because it wasn't all singing, all dancing, and you're saying, it's hunger, and but you just think, my body's working right now, it's doing this. You could read it off the benefits, and right now my body's doing this, it's at fat burning stage, or it's producing GABA, the calming effect, and now we're detoxifying and all this stuff. And just knowing that your body knows what to do, it's very clever, and that is so spiritual as well. I'm used to intermittent fasting and eating when hungry, but did bring insight into why you might otherwise eat and your triggers. And so it helps to know thyself more. To know thyself, that's quite a spiritual term, isn't it? So yeah, I like I say, I'm used to eating just when I'm hungry. I mean, I don't always, but I'm used to doing that. I'm used to intermittent fasting. I know what hunger feels like. So, but I do eat when I'm stressed. I'll eat chocolate when I'm stressed, and it's very. I didn't have some really stressful times. That's something I'll say in the next video to be aware of. Don't do this if you've got a high-powered job or a high demanding mental job or a high demanding physical job, because that's not the time to do it. So if you're doing something that's quite stressful and you are triggered by that to want to eat, then obviously that's going to be causing issues. So I never really came across that during my fast. But it did make you think of what to eat and why. And for a long time afterwards, it's coming up to a month now that I did mine. And yeah, you can see where, it might be the time of the month or something where you might have triggers and you might want to eat comfort food. It does bring that to the forefront as to why you eat and what you eat. And, you start to think, is this good for my body? So yeah, it really makes you think about what you're eating and why. And again, that's a spiritual thing, isn't it? You're bringing your mental, your physical, your emotional, your spiritual all together. So, I've got here, in and out of comfort, and liken that to life. So when you like the example I give, I completely forgot I was doing that. I was doing the fast and I was in the middle of something and I was like, oh, I'll go and eat in a minute. I'll go and make something to eat in a minute when I finish this. And then I went, oh, I can't. I've forgotten I was doing it, So it was a case, oh, I can't. And so then you start to feel this, and then you get the brain going off, going, you can just eat. You can just have that. Why are you doing this to yourself? You can just, you can just have that. You can just have this. What are you doing? And your brain's constantly, your ego is constantly saying, you don't have to feel this discomfort. You can go back to your comfort zone. You can just eat. It's easy. So it's overriding that, knowing the benefits and knowing why you're doing it. So you have to be really fast in the reasons for why you're doing it in the first place. And so you can liken that to life. Do we stay in our comfort zones with our relationships, our home, our job, our friends? Do we just stay comfort because it's easy? Do we just go with the flow because it's easy? Do we just do what everyone says? Do we just people please because it's easy and it's in our comfort zone, when our soul is like screaming out to do something completely different? Stepping out your comfort zone. So you're doing that battle with yourself in the fast, but it's also like a reminder that and you can do that. Like I said, I felt powerful, empowered doing it. So doing that in all areas of your life as well. So that's why I feel like it's such a spiritual practice. And it detoxes everything, mind, body and soul. We do not need to eat as much as we do. We really don't. My hubby he eats by the clock. If it's like 2:00 and he's not eating, I've missed my lunch, I'm hungry, I'm starving, and we don't need to eat by the clock. We don't need to eat as much food as we do. I'm not saying you all have to intermittent fast. I'm not saying you all have to go and do this 72-hour water fast. But be mindful what we eat, when we eat and why we eat. And that's a spiritual practice, and then enjoy that food. Steamed veg with some oil and salt on tasted amazing when I broke that fast. And just really enjoying every mouthful and slowing down. That is a spiritual practice. Eating food is a spiritual practice, and when we take it out of our world and put it back in again, it's like the appreciation for it is just through the roof. And yeah, I mean, I've been on retreats, spiritual retreats, silent retreats, and picking up your knife and fork is a reminder to be present with your meal and your eating. And it's similar, it's similar to reintroduce your food and bring that in. It's similar to, why am I eating this, so it is mind, body and soul. So there's something, so we did this group, okay, so I'm recording this in the end of January 2024, and Dr Mindy Pelz was doing this group. She did her fast the week before us, so that, I mean, she's done many fasts, obviously, she's written books and everything about it, and she did her fast the week before. So if she had any insights, any extra insights during that particular fast, she could come to us with that in the group. Unfortunately, during that week is when the fires hit, and they hit her home. So I'm just going to tell you this story that she said to us, which really hit home. I mean, yeah, it was just really emotional. She missed one of the lives that week, obviously, for obvious reasons. But when she came on later on in the week and explained and was so vulnerable and open, and she relayed her experience of that to similar of the fast, okay? So I'll keep it as short as I can. But she knew she had to get out of the house, and she had 2 routes she could have gone down. And one route was down to the beach. If she'd turned, let me get it right, if she'd turned left, she would have gone down to the beach. And it was the easy way. But if she'd gone right, she'd hit all the traffic. And she's going towards the smoke. The smoke was blowing the other way. So she sat for a minute and she tuned in, and she's like, well, it makes sense to go down there. There's less traffic. It's towards the beach. It's an easier escape, blah, blah, blah. But she says, no, because the smoke's going that way. I'm going to go this way. I'm going to get in the traffic. She managed to get in touch with a sister who knew the area very well and guided her out. So she went right. She went the most difficult route. She chose to go right. And with this, and with the food, and with food companies and processed food and the way we eat now, it's so convenient, but it's not healthy. And she's likened that to this experience she went through. So, you know, you've got people saying, what are you doing a three-day water fast for? You're bonkers. Why are you not eating? And, you know, that's not normal. That's not natural. Well, it's actually not normal to go left and to do the done thing that everyone else is doing if it's about eating convenience food, packaged food, processed food, you know, seed oils that are not good for you, all these things that are causing disease, illness. I'm not going to go into them. Like I say, I'm not a doctor, but this is from Dr Mindy Pelz herself, who's done a lot of research. So she's basically saying you can choose to go left and do the comfort thing. We've just talked about comfort and being in and out of your comfort zone. You can do the comfortable thing, the easy thing, but you're going to get the repercussions of that. Or you can do your research, you can tune into your body, you can do the spiritual practice, you can tune in, do I need to eat, what do I need to eat? Do the research, do the work, do the proper cooking, and turn right. So going against the grain and going through the difficult route because you know it's the right route, because you know it's healthy, because it's good for you, because you know the outcome. And yes, a plate of steamed vegetables when someone next to you is eating a big fat burger or something is not easy. It's not the easiest route, but it's the best route. And it's the best route for your body, your mind, your soul. It really is all encompassing. And you feel that on day 3. You really feel like $1 million come day 3. So I'm going to end with this. I'm just going to read a couple of these that were posted. It is anonymous, so it's okay to read this. But so I did it too, 72 hours, and what an insightful process and journey this was. Feeling so much calmness, grounding, love, compassion, and even more. Yesterday when I went sleeping, I realised perhaps this is the first time I came home to my body, into my body, feeling one with her. Having a background in eating disorders, this 3-day water fast could have been a trigger, but instead of not loving my body and sometimes even hating it, very familiar in the past, I felt whole, as if nothing else had to be done, found or fixed. Dear Mindy and all community members, I'm so grateful for this. So this was another member, this wasn't me talking about the eating disorders. I actually responded to her and said, really well done. I feel the same. I came from similar eating issues in my youth, so was concerned about it all going into this fast. You hit the nail on the head, coming back to body, empowered, liberated from all that eating was in childhood to now as an adult, finally lovingly and accepting me in my own body. Thank you to your body, thank you to my body, thank you to everybody. And then I think she did another post a little bit later. Dear friends, apart from the fasting process in our bodies without food, there is a whole process going on with detoxing old stories, old beliefs. So it can happen that we all feel very vulnerable, sad, cold, or not strong at all after the fasting period. That was what I was experiencing yesterday. I was feeling freezing cold, in a freeze state, and feeling so deeply sad. This morning I had a coach call, and my coach told me this wisdom, and I think, yes, of course this is happening too. So if you are experiencing things like this, know we are here in it together, helping, supporting and encouraging each other. Have a great day. Love you all. So, you know, the words I used were coming back to body, empowered, liberating. So, you know, that's my experience from a spiritual perspective, and I'll definitely be doing this again twice a year. But I'll talk more about that in the next video, about my reflections overall and what I would do differently in the hope that it will help you. Okay, that's it for now. Much love. Bye for now.